getting started. I'm Dylan Goodwin with Croquet Network. .com and also the publisher of the USCA's Croquet News. So I have here with me today Ben Rothman, captain of the recent USGC World Teams Championship team, and Matthew Essick, who also played a big role in the team, along with the other three players as well. But they're here to talk about the recent event. And I guess I just want to start off with talking about, I guess, just your initial reactions to winning it, and kind of maybe just highlighting how that feels and what's kind of happened in the aftermath since that win in Tasmania.
Uh, Pure joy. I mean, it was great fun. It was a little bit of a weight off the shoulders. We had great control, and all we wanted to do was make sure that we didn't give them any sort of opening because they were a fantastic team. So with a big lead, we really wanted to shut the door. There was a little extra joy because Matthew had set it up as a bit of a race, see who could get that win first, and he was absolutely sure he would finish two games of singles before we finished two games of doubles, and he went in very confident as world champ and one of our top players that he was going to get the win first. So a little extra joy that Blake and I managed to beat the odds and win the doubles before he won the singles, with a little help from Matthew's opponent taking a nice long break.
Oh, right, right.
But
That was a break during there. What's your take on that, Matthew?
Yeah, I mean, it's Ben has even more experience than I do, but just going to a lot of these team events over the years and coming up short, and the first international world teams win for the United States is just a really big deal. And so I think getting the four guys together, or five guys together that were all playing well at the same time is a rare thing in any team sport. And normally you have two or three guys playing well, and then the other two are trying to find their form. And I think we were very fortunate that for almost the entire time we were there, all five guys were, on form and playing well. And so it was just a really cool thing to see all the way through the week. It wasn't just a playing well at the end kind of thing. It was a consistent performance by us. So just very proud of all the guys, really.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I got to watch as much as possible on live stream. So saw a lot of the players, a lot of you guys playing, and yeah, everyone looked really, I luckily because of a lot of live streaming over the past almost decade now, I've been able to see a lot of you guys play, even though I haven't seen you play as much in person. But yeah, I was really impressed with the team across the board, how well they were playing. I will say also, I mean, and I think this comes up every World Championship, there were stretches where there were some, maybe the performance was a little low, saw a little bit with Blake at some times. Matthew, I think you had a couple stretches, and then coming back out of it and then just playing flawless.
Well, I think it's like Matthew said, it's really hard. We have three individual world champions, but it wasn't like I was in the finals with Matthew, or we were both in the semifinals of Blake's. It takes a really good effort to be dialed in and to actually be playing your best croquet when it matters. And so it was shocking that, yeah, we had four, even five of us all playing our top. I mean, Steven was 3-1. He's no slouch. But we had the four of us playing our best as the weekend, semifinals and finals were upon us. So it was really, it felt like just perfect timing, great kismet. Working our way out of it, I feel like because we were rotating, we practiced every day. Every day they didn't kick us off the lawns to reset hoops. So the first day we had Tom was sitting out, scaring the opponents we had just played because they saw him practicing and beating the stuffing out of Matthew and I. And the Spaniard who had just played us said, "This guy's their alternate? Like, he's on the bench?" And then we sat the world champ day two. So we were always playing after the matches to make sure those guys got a couple games in each day and got some real hoop shots and real jump shots. So that allowed us to work out some kinks, make sure we were watching each other's swing to see if we saw anything. I don't know. I think, it always comes down to the fundamentals. I was always picking my head up or, guiding the mallet too much instead of letting gravity do the work. But I don't know if Matthew, did you have any help with any of your technical changes during the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think all of us have different swings, but all of us understand the swing well enough to help each other out on a basic level. And I think that the important thing over the course of the week is when you play in a croquet tournament that's this long, you're going to have stretches where you don't play well, and you're going to have stretches where you play unbelievably well. And I think the key is the stretches where you're not playing well need to be as short as possible. And the stretches where you're playing unbelievably well, you're trying to lengthen those out. And so I think we had a very few of the stretches where we didn't play well, and they lasted maybe a game as opposed to an entire match. And so even if you lose game one, I remember specifically I played Mohammed Nasser in game one and lost 7-2 and didn't play that well. But at the end of that game, I started finding the swing. And even though I didn't win either of the last two hoops, I battled those last two hoops out well based on my standard that I want to play at. And so then I took that into game two and into game three as well. And so had that lasted all the way through game two, I don't think I win game two, lose that match, and things play out differently for me. And so I think if you can shorten the length of the time that you're not playing well, at a tournament that's this long, it's so important. And I think all of us did a really good job of that. And that played a big part.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool to see. I mean, and it's interesting to see is, regular players, like even the top players have a little bit of a downturn, but they come out of it so much faster than your average player. So I guess, yeah, like you said, this is the first team championship, and it just felt like it was so long coming. And, in McRobertson, when we have even finished second yet. So, and I don't know past GC World Team Championship actual results, but it seemed like a long time coming. But on the other hand, like you said, there's 3 world champions. Tom Balding was in, the Final Four of the last AC World. So in retrospect, it's all like, well, yeah, they sure they won. They have all these world champions. And so can you just speak a little bit more toward that achievement, and I guess maybe what it means to American croquet, across the board?
Well, there's a reason we play the games. Just because you're good on paper doesn't mean you're the champions. So yeah, we were going in with some confidence, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you guys are due to win this," but we actually went in as the 3rd ranked team. Egypt was, the strongest team far and away. Australia passed us with great performance by Ed Wilson and Mal Fletcher in the last months leading up to allocation. And so we were the 3rd ranked team going in, but beating Egypt in the block gave us momentum. And like I said, we got fortunate that it wasn't any one of us playing our best, but we all started really cresting to our top, possible play there as we headed into the semis and the finals. As a team, it's just huge. We were playing the MAC since '93. I think best we've ever done is 3rd, and playing this since it started in 2012, and 4th was our best. We got 5th once, 4th twice. So we had never even medaled in this. And so there's, you can say what you want about odds of winning, but having to actually do it was a different story. It ended up being pretty low stress with the leads we went into. We had, I think, was it 5-2 day one against New Zealand, and then 6-0 against Egypt in the final. So it was lower stress, but it was still a huge accomplishment. I tried to shout out, our past team members that got us here. So much coaching over the years for all of us. Even me, the old guy, but definitely our young guys have played with the previous champions and previous U.S. players. So trying to shout them out for getting us here. We're standing on the shoulders of giants for sure.
Right. That's a good point. I was trying to go back through and remember, and it just feels like even just looking through notes and stuff that I took and the articles even that I wrote, it's like there's a lot that happens during an event like that, but I couldn't remember. It's like, God, was there a point where it looked like they weren't going to win? And the only stress point I could come up with is maybe like after winning the first two doubles against Egypt in the final, then I think maybe lost the first couple games in singles and maybe and then that was it. But I was like, otherwise, that last final against Egypt, it never really felt in doubt. Was there any other time during the event where you guys were like, oh, I don't know if we're going to get through this one, or this is going the wrong way?
The match with New Zealand definitely could have taken a different turn with I believe it was 1-1 after the doubles on the first day, and the two singles matches that were on were Edmund Fordyce and Blake, and myself and Felix, and I was tied 5-5 in game 3 with Felix, and Blake had just lost to Edmund, so they were up 2-1 with a chance to go up 3-1 with a few hoops to play, and obviously hoop 11 and 12 went in my favor, but a 3-1 deficit there. It doesn't mean that the matches later on in the day aren't going to go our way, but momentum is a key factor. And going down 3-1 as opposed to 2-2 with the next two singles matches going on, it makes a big difference, And so I would say that was the one point where things could have changed just slightly and taken a little bit, taken a different turn. But I would say I felt more stress or more pressure in that moment in the test than any other moment that we had all week.
Okay.
Yeah, an interesting litmus test was the end of block play. We played Egypt and we lost at hoop 13 in both game threes of the doubles to start the test. The good news was we already had two test wins, so we knew we were making it out. But coming out and playing the number one, who had had a couple of 6-0 wins, I think, Australia from the other block, would have been a lot harder than coming out and beating Egypt and getting, whichever team was kind of scraping by in a really tough block over there. And so rallying from those two losses at hoop 13 in game threes to win all the singles was huge because it kind of secured. We knew we could beat Egypt, but we hadn't ever beaten Egypt. We played the same team in Cairo, where I played with the Abdul Wahab brothers and Tamer Hatata, and we got stomped. And this is the same Egyptian team, obviously different venue, some different equipment, but we had a much different team. And so the fact that we were able to get our first ever test win over Egypt, and all of a sudden it looked like not only were we a top seed in the playoffs, but it looked like Australia was happy to be playing Egypt and not us. And that was kind of a huge deal. Obviously less stakes than Matthews 5-all in the semis, but it was definitely a nice litmus test that not only can we do this, but we're doing it.
Right. Yeah, I guess, and I think I had this right, I wrote it down, but I believe in the final against Egypt, you guys were 5-0 in 7-6 games.
I don't necessarily know the right way to put it, but I don't think we are scared of the moment, I guess is a good way to put it, where I think all of us can handle taking a shot that we know might lose the match if we miss, and the pressure's on that shot, but we understand it is the right shot and you have to take it. And I think sometimes in a team event, it's a lot easier to put pressure on yourself that the team is relying on me. I have my teammates that are trying to back me up and banking on me to hit this shot. But at the end of the day, it's the right shot and you have to take it, and you're betting on yourself to hit it. And so I know Tom, for example, had over the course of the week, he had 7 wins from 6-4 down, which is just incredible. And to come back 6-4 down once over the course of a tournament is impressive. To do it 7 different times is really a statement, and just shows that you're never counting yourself out, and you're always continuing to play at your highest level, and just hoping your opponent either makes a mistake or you have to hit some big shots. And so I think it's just a testament to our team that we performed even when the odds were against us, whether it was we had the first shot to 13 and the odds are not in our favor, or if we did have the first shot to 13, we kind of held serve. So I think we did really well in those situations all week.
You need some irrational confidence to, perform at a high level when the stress is on. And we all have irrational confidence. I'd say Tom has it in spades. But you need that. And we're an aggressive team. Like there was some criticism that, we're not playing the right tactics. We're playing too many aggressive shots, but we knew that when we're taking, even in singles, a 7-yard angled hoop shot, when there's an opponent in front of the hoop at 13, we know that playing amongst ourselves, we talk about how, like, if you like that hoop shot, that's the right shot. So at no point are we thinking, my teammates on the sideline are cringing. They're getting nervous because they don't want me taking this shot. Like, we're an aggressive team. We play doubles aggressive. We talk it up in practice that against the top players in the world, you just have to take the hoop shots you get sometimes. And so there's a definite luck factor. We all missed those hoops where you hit nothing from 7 yards, and so did our opponents. It's a stressful hoop shot, that hoop 13, but so there's definite luck, but hopefully there's some intangibles that our teammates knew that on the sideline. We were like, oh, nice, he's going for hoop. This is a hoop shot. We weren't cringing or worried. Oh, no, don't do that. We're thinking, hey, this is a chance to win. I've seen him make it before. So I think we came in with an aggressive mindset, and we weren't upset that to watch a teammate go for it.
What was the degree of challenge of the hoops there versus back in Virginia in October at GC Worlds?
It was a very different challenge. I think Virginia was at loam and really hard ground. It took an hour to reset a hoop. That at least 15 minutes per getting it set, and then if it's not set right, they keep going. That was just a whole different world. So this was not as difficult. So you could be more aggressive. You saw a lot more in-offs and 60-foot hoop shots and stuff going through here, angled attempts going through. So I think it was a different world. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think Chesapeake for the world specifically was a different world than anywhere I've ever played. It's the only tournament in golf croquet I've ever played where giving your opponent a 3 to 4 yard hoop shot is a good decision. And it was just standard all the way through the tournament. You would see, no matter the quality of the player you're playing, that people were giving each other 3 and 4 yard hoop shots and basically saying, prove to me that you can make it, and then I'll change my tactics. But until then, I'm just going to force you to make what normally is an easy or easier shot is a difficult hoop shot there. So I think Chesapeake was a totally different challenge than, as far as the hoops, than anywhere that I've ever played.
Being to Tasmania, the trip down there, any issues with that, or the travel that affect you guys in any way?
I'll speak on this one. I
was thinking no comment might be the
Stephen Morgan and I both there was some bad weather in LA, and so our flights getting over to the West Coast were delayed and forcing us to miss our connecting flight to Melbourne. And so we had to wait a 24-hour stint to get on the next flight to Melbourne. And so Stephen and I both got there the day before the event. Luckily for me, I got there with 45 minutes of practice time. So I at least got to hit a ball or some balls on the court. Stephen did not. And so Stephen started the Spain test on day one with, his 5 to 10 minute practice session was the first time hitting the balls on the lawn. So it was definitely a learning curve for both of us. And I know the other guys got in early that morning, I believe, Ben, or was it the day before?
It was the afternoon the day before, but Tom, also coming from Florida, barely made his connection in California. So all three of you coming from Florida got subject to those domestic delays that led to nearly missing, or 2 of you missing, the big flight to Australia. So yeah, Blake and I got in the afternoon of the first practice day, and Tom got in that night. And so we had the half practice day, which proved to be enough. But yeah, we're not used to having to arrive 72 hours before first hit, but apparently that was expected of us because they had an opening ceremony on Friday when the tournament started Monday at the mayor's office, which we didn't know about until January. So we had already booked our tickets to not be there to arrive Saturday for a Monday tournament.
Right. That's interesting. From at least from the live streams that like Tasmania, the country seemed to be really in. I mean, just the local people, there was just a lot of promotion about Tasmania, and they seemed to really be excited to host the event, the area there. Did you guys get that sense?
Yeah, they were great hosts. They had a great volunteer effort. There were tons of referees and scorekeepers and people handling lunches in the venue and resetting the hoops and mowing the lawns whenever we would get off the lawn, give them enough time to mow and reset. So yeah, it was a huge volunteer effort. And even though we missed that opening ceremony at the mayor's office, he did come on Monday. The mayor and was it deputy mayor and some federal representative, council person. So they still came all out. And yeah, I also saw some of those Tasmania commercials during the live stream. But yeah, they were wonderful hosts. It was very gracious, very hospitable.
Yeah. The match with Egypt there, and specifically, I think your singles. I think it was first day, and definitely seemed to be like tension. I think it was between you and Khalid Kamal. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but can you speak to the issues there?
I'm not sure I should. Everybody's tense in a team event. You want to win it, not just for yourself, but for the team. There's motivation there. He doesn't speak a lot of English. I certainly don't speak a lot of Arabic. So going back to meeting him in Cairo last October, there's a bit of a disconnect. Like try to be smile and friendly, but he does a lot of dragging his thumb across his throat and pointing at me. So it wasn't the least tense match I've ever been a part of. And certainly with the test score going our way, everybody else had won that day. So we were 5-0. And again, you don't want to give them any chance of momentum to kind of save, get one win and start talking positively at the end of the day. Really wanted to get a win. He knocked me out of the Cairo Open. I'm not sure if we played singles in the Kamal Cup in Egypt, but he did knock me out of the Cairo Egyptian Open. And so, I wanted to get a win. He knocked Tom out of the Worlds. So he had a history of beating us up. And so it was a big win. A little tension there, just trying to play everything by the book, if possible. And yeah, I was really glad to get that win so that we kind of left that door almost entirely shut.
You want to speak about the future of international team events?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's been really big for us, including this event as well, is in all of my team experience, the competition to get on a team has been basically there's competition for the sixth spot on a Solomon or a MAC team between the sixth and whoever is the alternate. But there's not much competition other than that. It's pretty clear cut. There's 7 guys that have a chance, and then for Openshaws in the past, maybe 5, maybe 6 guys. And I think that for this event, there was some really good American croquet players that were sitting at home with Sharif Abdulwahab, Kyle Maloof, that are some of our strong players that definitely could have helped us in a team event. But the competition within the states is improving drastically. And so it's making our team stronger and making the competition to make a team a lot stronger. And so a lot more difficult. And so I think that the competition within the states is improving, which is making our teams better in the long run. And then a little side note is, we have guys coming over from overseas to either teach croquet or just come over for other opportunities that are now playing in our events. With Edmund Fordyce is now in the States teaching full time. And then Robert Fletcher is now in Florida playing croquet regularly. And so we have some of the best players in the world that are coming over and playing croquet against some of our best players. And so, yes, it's helping them, but it's also helping us drastically. So I think that whether it's AC, GC, that our players are getting better as a result of better competition.
Yeah, I can agree. We've benefited from, the Canadians, Leo and Brian, and having expats move over here, Damon, and Paul Scott, that have helped us come along. But nobody, in the top 5 in the world, like Edmund and Robbie. So that'll be a huge help. Usually that's England who ends up getting people to move there from South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and they end up having even more competition in their just weekend tournaments. Now we will hopefully get to benefit from that at our big tournaments if we have Edmund and Robbie there, and as Matthew said, an increasingly deep U.S. squad of good players. Even Zach now plays golf croquet, and he would have made it difficult to pick the Openshaw team had he gotten those games in earlier. And we're working on getting Blake into AC, see if we can make that McRob squad deeper. So there's a bright future, and this was the first one that we took on everybody's A team. A lot of our Solomon wins, it's not their top ranked players, coming for that. I think there will be possibly in Budley Salterton. I don't know. Have you seen that squad, Matt?
I have not. I don't think they've announced the squad yet.
But certainly in the MAC next year, we'll be looking to make our mark. Now that we've proven we can win these team events on an international stage, not just in a friendly.
Well, we got Mac in 26. Where's that going to be?
I think London, because it's their centenary. It's the 25th or 26th MAC, and it's celebrating 100 years after it started. I think that was in England in the 20s.
Yeah, I know they're splitting between venues over the course of the MAC. So I know some of the matches will be played at Hurlingham, Surbiton, Roehampton, and so it'll be all throughout London for that 3-week event.
Okay. Well, this has just been all my questions and stuff. Is there anything specific that each of you would like to speak about related to the event or croquet in general?
If I might lead off, I was technically captain of the team and tried to use all of my tricks over the years for logistics and making sure we had, each other's flight information and had no stress with the car and the Airbnb and stuff. But in terms of, a leader on the courts, we tried to make it a group effort, and Matthew was very much right up there as a co-captain. We were making all the decisions together, and so we owe a lot of our success to that group effort where, again, it was low stress. We had kind of worked out a rotation. We wanted to have 5 guys. We wanted to make sure that everybody played in the block rounds and then send our best 4 on to the semifinals, and we were hoping finals. And Matthew was a huge part of helping make those decisions real easy with who plays doubles. And, Matthew was very gracious in letting Blake play number 1 singles a couple of times because it fitted us better to have, me and Blake playing the doubles, the extra doubles match and stuff like that. So it was a real group effort, and Matthew was effectively my co-captain at every decision.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. I would like to say thank you. I know we said thank you to them on the live stream before, but to Michael Albert, the Lee Olson Fund, the USCA for the support. I think that it's everyone likes teams that win, and it's a lot easier to drum up support, and when they see what they're paying for or what they're supporting is paying off. And so all the people that supported us financially through the Lee Olson Fund and through these events that we've done over the last 6 months to a year have been a huge help to us, and takes that part of the equation out for us. And so it's a huge help. So thank you to everyone who supported us.
Okay. Awesome. Well, congratulations. It was really fun to watch, and I appreciate you guys taking the time for this interview.
Thank you, Darwin.